Hello everyone and welcome to Trapped in the Ether. This is a documentary about a whole bunch of stuff the Illuminati doesn't want you to know. I wanted to discuss mainly the ether science that's being suppressed, such as the electric universe, and how Nikola Tesla's science is being used for not only a military space program, but also to push transhumanism, which is eventually going to trap people in this ether. I hope you enjoy this documentary and do your own research afterwards. So to begin off this documentary, we're going to go over a basic overview of the topics we're going to discuss, and we're going to get a basis for an understanding of Illuminati symbolism. That on the left is what's called the Star of Remphan, also known as Saturn, and it is used as the Metatron's cube and the basis for the Star of David. And that is a symbol the Illuminati put into all of their media, into a lot of their things, because they worship Saturn. Now the topics we're going to discuss moving forward is Nikola Tesla and the electric universe theory, the military space program, transhumanism being pushed as beneficial, the EMF field and paranormal activity, how my first book, The Lost Truth, relates, and then we're going to go over some Bible verses such as they shall seek death and death shall flee from them to finish up this documentary. Oftentimes you'll find that someone else has already said it better, so I found this documentary on the electric universe theory, and I'm going to go ahead and let them describe that for you so that you get a basic understanding of what is going on here. So please watch this short clip I found and we'll discuss what it means afterwards.
Here we see the representation of a single photon of light. Scientists understand many of the properties of light, but light still holds some mysteries that perplex us. Thomas Young first demonstrated the wave nature of light in 1803 with his famed double-slit experiment, and ever since then the world's top minds have debated what the results of this experiment actually mean. Although Young's double-slit experiment is repeated many times every day, we are always left with the same perplexing question that goes to the core of quantum mechanics and even our very understanding of matter. Is light a particle or a wave? Experiments have revealed that light has the properties of both a particle and a wave, but how can it be both a particle and a wave? Then we find this to be the case for all electromagnetic radiation and all matter. This leaves the world's brightest minds still searching for answers to this basic question: is matter a particle or a wave? In this video series you will be shown the solution to our dilemma. In fact, you are looking at that solution right now. The fields shown around the green photon are electromagnetic fields of opposite polarity, with the red field being of north magnetic orientation and the blue field being of south magnetic orientation. It will be proven that this is actually the way that magnetic fields are structured around all matter. This applies from the smallest particles we have discovered to the largest structures in space. If you were to measure these fields with a compass, their magnetic fields would appear identical to the magnetic fields of a bar magnet. This also means that when we measured the magnetic fields of matter with other methods in the lab, we also assumed that matter had a bar magnet type of magnetic field. But this assumption was a mistake. So until now we have incorrectly assumed that electrons and other matter have a magnetic field shape as shown in this drawing. But we must realize that the fields around an electron, as well as around all other matter, are actually two opposing bowl-shaped electromagnetic fields. Unless we properly understand this basic magnetic field structure, We will never be able to properly understand the fundamental forces of matter, from the subatomic to the galactic. In this presentation, you will be shown that correcting this one basic misunderstanding of magnetic fields also explains most all of our problems in physics and astrophysics. I believe that this magnetic field structure is an intrinsic property of all matter. Therefore, you cannot have a particle of matter unless these magnetic fields are there to form it and confine it. To further understand these magnetic fields and validate this new theory, hundreds of experiments were conducted utilizing a vacuum chamber and specially constructed bowl-shaped magnetic field emitters. When 70,000 volts of electricity is applied, the plasma formations that you are now seeing appear. From the structures in space to the structures of matter revealed in the collisions at the Large Hadron Collider at CERN, all sources of data were considered. I carefully studied the amazing research underway at the Large Hadron Collider, and I found a wealth of evidence for this new theory in the collisions there. This evidence will be discussed at length in Primer Fields Part 4. In reviewing a video from CERN, I noticed something quite bizarre, and it wasn't in the data from the collisions. It was in the shape of CERN's most well-recognized building, the Globe of Science and Innovation in Geneva, Switzerland. Not only was it a bowl shape, but the design of the building also had a hole in the top of the dome, exactly as my theory would call for. So I made a magnetic scale model of the CERN dome, placed a set of them in my vacuum chamber, and fired it up. Not only did these CERN bowls form a spherical shape at the center of the reaction, but they also formed a disk of plasma around the nucleus, as well as ejection jets along the axis. After running the experiments for a few days with the CERN bowls, they were removed from the vacuum chamber and photographed, revealing the patterns you see here. These amazing patterns will also be discussed further in Part 4 of this series of videos. Then once it was realized that the key pattern required for this theory was found in the dome at CERN, it was also discovered that CERN was not the only place with the required pattern. The pattern has been there for centuries at the Pantheon in Rome, which has been referred to as the Vault of the Heavens. Then the required shape was also found at St. Peter's Basilica. Then one of my favorites was found at St. Paul's Cathedral in Medina, Malta. Notice the angels circling the hole at the top of the dome, and compare that to the glowing ring that is found inside the bowl-shaped magnetic field emitters in the vacuum chamber. Why are these angels on fire exactly where they should be? Much more on this dome and the others later in this series of videos. So it seems that people often want a sign from God that we are not alone. Sometimes God does give us a sign if we just pay attention. Sometimes He even puts that sign up over the Capitol of the United States of America. Then we will take a look at Newgrange in Ireland. This structure predates Stonehenge by over 200 years, and yet it too contains unbelievable details related to this new theory of the structure of all matter.
So what did we learn? The universe is more the result of electromagnetism than gravity. 2. The magnetic field of Earth is bowl-shaped and intersects the Earth. 3. CERN's globe of science and innovation is an admittance that they know this, and they built a lab that has a direct connection to Saturn's pole star, which is exactly what the occult worship. 4. The occult Freemasons encoded this information into their building designs, such as the Pantheon and the US Capitol building, for hundreds of years. 5. The elite are using this information to their own benefit at places like CERN, but they're withholding it from the public. So with a basic understanding of what the elite are trying to hide from us with the electric universe theory, why are they trying to suppress this information? Is it because Nikola Tesla was right and they decided instead of freeing humanity with this free energy technology, they would rather enslave us with their free energy technology? So what did Nikola Tesla try to tell us? That there was other energy technologies available, and why are the elite trying to hide us from it? And what else is in this ether that Nikola Tesla was able to connect with? But we'll get back to that later. First, let's go over how you're able to extract energy from this ether. So I found this next clip, which is going to demonstrate a test where you can actually see the energy that can be transferred through the ether, thus proving the ether exists. Please watch this and we'll get back to what it means later. See that the ether exists and that energy can pass through it. What is the mainstream definition that they'll give you for the ether? And here it is displayed on the screen. It's basically the clear sky or upper regions of the air beyond the clouds. Basically what they're describing here is it's the medium outside of the Earth or space. So when we talk about the ether, what we're really saying is space. And right now they want you to believe that space is basically just an empty vacuum. But the ether would say otherwise, is that space is actually extremely energetic and that you can pass energy through it because it has a lot of energy to it. So much like a conducting element, the ether conducts electricity. And a lot of the main theories can be debunked by the electromagnetic theory. And we're going to look into the ancient Greek meaning of the word next. So here we can see the ancient Greek meaning of the word ether displayed on the screen, and it also refers to it as the quintessence, the material that fills the region of the universe outside of the Earth. So once again, we're seeing it referenced to space. This basically is what space is. Space isn't an empty vacuum. Space is the ether. And something about this ether isn't normal according to everyone that looks at it. It has energy inside of it. It's not just an empty vacuum. So the universe itself is filled with the ether, and that's what connects everything together, and they don't want you to know that because there's massive amounts of energy in this ether that could be harnessed or used for good or evil purposes, and they're going to use it for evil purposes. So now we're going to take a look at a quote from Nikola Tesla regarding the properties of the ether. And he says, "Ether is the cause of every magnetic field. Electricity could not exist without the ether. Ether is the medium for all electromagnetic waves, from radio to gamma. Every particle in the universe is bathed in a sea of ether, including the so-called electrons of atoms and plasma. Ether is how particles know they are moving near the speed of light in a vacuum, even if they are accelerated very slowly." Nikola Tesla. So what he's telling us here is that ether is a medium for which all of these energies they know about are moving through. So if they had other free energy technologies, they'd have to transmit it through the ether. And also, if they wanted us to become transhumanist, we'd have to connect to this medium of the ether in order to do so. Once again, we see here that ether is the medium for every electromagnetic wave, from radio waves to gamma waves. So what the elite are telling you here is that the ether is what all of this stuff passes through. TV, the internet, all of that travels through the ether, and that's important to keep in mind as we're moving forward. Another fantastic quote from Nikola Tesla. "Ere many generations pass, our machinery driven by a power obtainable at any point of the universe. Throughout space, there is energy." This is him telling us that we can build a space program built on the use of energy from the ether. So if the elite know there's free energy from the ether, what else do they know about the ether? Well, Thomas Edison, a major Illuminati insider, was jealous of Tesla's work, mainly jealous that Tesla claimed he could contact spirits and ghosts in the ether realm. So Edison built a spirit phone. Now the Illuminati have been conducting rituals to contact spirits since their beginning, and they build temples to these frequencies, such as the George Washington Masonic Monument, which I've been inside of. That building is built to very specific tonal frequencies, and they have been doing this for a long time in order to contact the dead. So when they figured out they could contact the dead through the ether, they decided that's exactly what they would do. So here we can see that Thomas Edison is going to use this new information in order to contact the dead, and he actually does believe this. This quote from him states, "I am inclined to believe that our personality hereafter will be able to affect matter. If we can evolve an instrument so delicate as to be affected by our personality as it survives in the next life, such an instrument ought to record something." So here's a newspaper article where we can see that propaganda was alive back in the old day, because he obviously wasn't material-minded if he was trying to contact the dead using an ethereal device, which you can see pictured there on the right side. And this ethereal device will come up later again because it was pictured in a video game called XCOM. But obviously Thomas Edison, one of these Illuminati insiders, believed in the spirits because he was trying to build machines to contact them, and those machines are called ethereal devices because the spirits live in the ether. So that is what the Illuminati know and have been hiding from us for a very long time. Now that we've established the existence of an electronic universe and the fact that it's filled with an ether that's full of free energy, and that ether is also where the dead souls that interact with us through electronics reside, do we have any evidence the Illuminati have free energy technology and are using it? Yes, it's called low energy nuclear reactions, commonly known as cold fusion, and that was used on 9/11, which equals IXXI. And I believe the ether science and LENR is the basis for the secret space program, and the proof of that is what happened on 9/11. Because if you look at what happened on 9/11, it was obviously conducted by using directed energy weapons and low energy nuclear reactions as the basis for the power from some sort of space platform. Now let's look into Dr. Judy Wood's evidence that leans towards this conclusion. best evidence for a secret space program that has been militarized and weaponized is what Dr. Judy Wood exposed about what happened on 9/11 and the evidence that she's uncovered. From low seismic readings to lack of debris to actually watching the buildings turn into dust as they fall, it's obvious that 9/11 wasn't conducted by controlled demolition or by jet fuel from planes, that it was conducted by some sort of directed energy weapon that uses low energy nuclear reactions as the basis for its power source. Likely it was shot from space, but we don't have any proof of where it actually came from. Some people have pointed at the Brookings lab in Long Island, but I've looked into that and that doesn't seem to make any sense. It does line up geometrically, but it doesn't seem that the Brookings lab has any sort of directed energy weapon technology at it. So we have to look at what Dr. Judy Wood presented us with here, and we're going to start doing that by looking at the buildings first and the lack of debris. The most damning piece of evidence that she exposed that anyone can see for themselves was how there was absolutely no debris left on 9/11 because the buildings were turned into dust. If it had been controlled demolition or planes crashing into buildings, the 7 buildings that were taken down that day would have a much larger rubble pile than what we can see here in the photo. Here's another piece of evidence displayed by Dr. Judy Wood, and this is a picture of the building as it's being turned into dust as it falls. And you can actually see the steel beams are literally turning into dust in mid-air as they fall. That can't happen with jet fuel, and that cannot happen with controlled demolition. Here we see the official version of the collapse, and the controlled demolition of the collapse is sort of the same thing, which allows for a pancake theory where all of the floors would have pancaked and eventually left you with a large rubble pile at the end. But that, of course, isn't what happened on 9/11. Now here's an actual model of what happened on 9/11, which was the buildings were turned into dust by LENR, or directed energy weapon, from above. And you can see as it happened, the building turned into dust, which then filled all of lower Manhattan with 3 inches of dust, and there was basically nothing left at the site, which is what happened on 9/11. So here we can see the seismic events that occurred on 9/11, and this blows a hole in the entire theory, especially the controlled demolition theory, because if it had been controlled demolition, you would have seen a much larger seismic signal on that day than just the 2.1 on the Richter scale. And also, the time period for how long the rubble fell is way too short for what we see on the video. 8 seconds is too short. One of the major bombshell pieces of evidence that directed energy weapons were used on 9/11 are the massive amount of toasted cars that were found even though trees and paper were completely unharmed nearby. So it couldn't have happened by thermal. So it wasn't, thermite in the building that came down and rained down on these cars that were found up to 6 miles away. This is direct evidence that a direct energy weapon was used, and that it was probably low energy nuclear reaction. And I'm going to show you a video that correlates to this following up right now. So check this video out and tell me if this is probably something similar to what happened on 9/11. So you might be saying, well, what space program are they using? Well, what about the Lockheed Martin space program that they are advertising jobs for online? You have to check out this promotional video because, it's up to them to manage the resources on the planet and use the all-seeing eye to protect the planet with some secret satellite array they might have. Well, check it out and let me know if you think it might be part of the space program. Here's another great photo of the building being turned into dust on 9/11. You can literally see that the building is almost more going up in the air than it is going down because the dust is going up. So why would they do this? And it's the same reason why they so blatantly killed JFK. So let me explain this. They killed JFK because he challenged the Federal Reserve with an executive order that would have replaced it, which was Executive Order 11110. Also, he challenged the CIA. And they killed him in open and made it obvious that it was done by the CIA so that no one would ever challenge them again. And every president after that has gotten the message. Now, 9/11 is the same thing. They did 9/11 and made it so blatantly obvious that it was done, and not only done, but done with this LNR space weaponry technology, that no other country is willing to challenge them again. And they've been using this power they've had since 9/11 to impose their imperialistic policies on the rest of the world, and no one's willing to challenge them because no one wants to be turned into dust. So that's what 9/11 was about. So the Illuminati have weaponized the free energy technology, and they have the rest of the world in fear. Then they militarize the police against the people in basically every country you can see, and are pushing their symbols externally through the various puppets they control in the media. So where is this all leading? What is the entertainment industry programming into people? Why are they trying to push these various things through the gaming industry mainly, which is targeted towards the youth? And like Assassin's Creed, they make themselves seemingly the enemy, as the enemy in that game series was the Templars. So what is this externalization of the hierarchy? Where is this leading us to? So as always, the Illuminati are going to offer us the solution for the problems that they've created themselves, and the problem that they've created this time is themselves. And they're going to allow us to basically destroy the lower class of their puppets as the satanic elite, while the actual Luciferians above them sit back and watch. And what they're going to do is they're going to give us the direct neural interface to connect directly to the internet. They won't need us as workers anymore because they have basically replaced us with robotics. And as they serve Lucifer, they'll want to eliminate the true human race entirely to prevent any sort of saving by Jesus Christ in the end, while also keeping us in this form, this transhumanist state of being. So to do this, they're going to let us live through them. So if you want to be a rebel, you'll do it, but you'll do it through them while sitting on your couch, as you do through games already. So as John D. Rockefeller said, they don't want a nation of thinkers, they want a nation of workers. And creating a transhumanist state where people are hooked into a hive mind where they control all of the information that can go in. And then they can also make sure that any thoughts that you have are not, thoughts that are against them, so that they can have the ultimate control. They'll create a permanent lower class, and they'll just sit on top of it as the controlling class. They've always said themselves as the controlling class of society, and that's exactly why they build these secretive places where they rule out of complete secrecy without being elected, such as the Bilderberg Group. And that's why they're creating this transhumanist hive mind state to stick us into. Here we're going to see how the Illuminati, such as the Bilderberg Group, pushes their transhumanist agenda through their various media, and mainly targeted at the youth. So the first is a trailer for a video game called Deus Ex, where you play a person killed or almost killed and who has to recover by using transhumanism, becoming basically a machine, to fight against, yes, the Illuminati. They actually call them that in the video game, and they even mention the Bilderberg Group. Also, another video that I'm going to show you is from Hardcore Henry, which is a trailer for a movie where something happens and you wake up and you have to be a transhumanist person fighting against some sort of conspiracy. And it's all done in the first person, which is conditioning people not only to be violent, such as Call of Duty video games, but also to use the transhumanist thing and sort of enter into this ethereal state. So let's take a look at these videos now.
It's changed my life. It's enabled me to do my craft, to do my one passion in life.
Taking pictures, easy as blinking my eye. Now when I take chances, when I take risks, the whole world gets to see what I see. I want it to be better. I want to be best of the best, part of the elite.
Football's always been a big part of my life. And after what happened, I didn't think I was going to get to play ball with my son. And to be able to come out here and play ball with him, it's like a new life.
It's super cool. Now when we play football, he can throw way further.
Run faster, jump higher. If I want to be the best, then that's what I got to do.
I actually can feel things. I pick up the football, I can feel the pigskin on my fingers.
I play the piano a million times more than I ever played it. It's easier, I'm enjoying it more, and that's why everybody knows me, is for my serif augmentations.
Thanks to Serif's augmentation, I see the world in a whole new light. I see it like I've never seen it before.
It just feels like a real arm, but better. You feel like a pro athlete with it on. It's been really like a revelation.
It truly, truly has changed my life.
Serif Industries. To learn more.
Human bioaugmentation has become commonplace throughout the developed world.
The sheer scale of this disaster has overwhelmed the authorities. Superstorms continue to hammer the region, hampering relief efforts. These are uncertain times. Our future depends upon the choices we make. As populations continue to expand, megacities emerge worldwide. The extreme conditions have led to a vast exodus of displaced residents. WA bases were on high alert this morning.
Direct energy air defenses neutralized the attack almost immediately. Protesters and local forces clashed again today, resulting in yet more bloodshed.
Make no mistake, this is a new Cold War. We may not always see our enemies, but they are out there.
My name is Jacob Hendricks. I'm your new CEO.
Hello, Henry. Do you remember how you got here? This next part might hurt. Squeeze. You and I were, we still are, husband and wife. I love you, Henry.
Henry, they want your technology.
How would you like than you?
Altitude.
The chute! Hold the chute! Hold on, Henry! Henry, fight back! You're capable of more than you think! Henry!
right, I'm here to help you. Is your speech module installed? Well, at least we know you're not deaf. Okay, well, the good news is that you're going to live a while. The bad news is there's an army standing between you and your wife. So let's go get her.
Tonight, I'm gonna have myself a real good time. I feel alive. Woo! This is war, baby! 'Cause I'm having a good time, having a good time. Shooting star leaping through the sky like a tiger, defying the laws of gravity. A racing car passing by.
You gonna lay there?
Don't stop me.
Swallow that blood in your mouth? Or are you gonna stand up and go spill theirs?
So we can see the pattern developing here. A person dies and is saved, just as Lazarus was saved from death when he flew too close to the sun, by using their technology, by becoming a transhuman. And this picture on the screen is exactly what's happening to people. They're entering into the matrix and trapping themselves there forever. And if that's what you really want, they're going to give that to you. And this next trailer from Deus Ex is showing exactly how the alchemists have led us here from the beginning of time. And they're even going to use the Lazarus symbolism in this next trailer. Check it out.
I never asked for this. She was lost to me. If you want to make enemies, try to change something. The year is 2027. It's a time of great innovation and technological advancement. It's also a time of chaos and conspiracy. I don't even know whose side I'm on.
So it's really not that hard to see. As I explained to you before, I let you just watch those clips so you could get the full effectiveness of it. But what did the Illuminati program you with in these video games and this movie? That basically violence and their technology equals your freedom, and that going into the virtual state and living through someone else is not only fun, but exciting. So while you sit in your vegetative state doing whatever they have you programmed to do through the neural interface and the hive mind, you're going to be living this exciting life in a virtual world as a transhumanist being. So as always, first they explain the threat to us, which just so happens to be them. Then they offer us the solution they want us to choose to fix it, which is, unregulated transhumanism will allow us to fight back against the system. Though I would rather do it remotely via proxy from my couch, so I'll take the DNI and I'll live through someone else as they take down the system for me, and I can just watch it. So why is this solution a bad idea? Well, it's pretty easy to understand. This is literally the mark of the beast, and taking transhumanism is not only going to trap people in that body, but it's going to trap people in the ether. And this next clip is a perfect example of that, and it's also from the fan film from Deus Ex, which makes it even more relevant to the clips I just showed you. This was done by Atmos Sharif, and he made this clip as part of his little short fan film for Deus Ex, and it shows you exactly how you're not going to be allowed to die if you become transhumanist. You're going to get stuck in this world forever, trapped in this robotic-like body you can't escape from.
Adam, she's loaded her gun. You have to get up now. Stay with me, Adam. I'm activating your... Adam, stay with me.
I've been waiting for you, Adam. I missed you. What's wrong?
I'm no longer what you think
You're
I
a
am,
better
Meg.
version. An upgrade. You need to be grateful. Now you need to embrace it. This is who you are now. Look at me. You need to wake up. Adam, look at me. Adam, wake up. Adam, look at me. Look at me. I need you to wake up.
Wake up.
Adam, wake up. Adam,
I need you to wake up.
Adam, look at me. Adam, look at me. Look at me.
Adam, wake up. Stay with me, Adam. Stay with me. Your batteries are low. Do you hear me? I'm rebooting your system. Hang in there. Get out of there right
Now you see what they were warning us about in Revelation 9:6. This is exactly why Jesus said, "And in those days shall men seek death, and shall not find it, and shall desire to die, and death shall flee from them." Because in the end days, people are going to mix themselves as iron mixes with clay, not very well, and they're going to trap themselves in this ether field that's connected to all electronics that we've already shown. And that's why the demons are trying to push this through the elite, because they know that if people take this, they will be able to trap people in the ether with them, and they've always been trying to keep people's souls here. So in finality, transhumanism is the ultimate trap. Taking on that ability to become a robot is not what we're here for. For the Bible warned us, "For as a snare shall it come on all them that dwell on the face of the whole earth." And what it's talking about is the final trap, that people are going to immerse themselves into DNI or the internet. And that is what the final trap is. That's what the mark of the beast is. Let me explain. And here it is right here in front of you. Because when you transliterate www into Hebrew, it comes out as 666. And I highly doubt Tim Berners-Lee, who came up with the World Wide Web, www part, had any realization of this. It might have just been, spiritually coincidental, but it did happen that way. And it is called the internet, and you use, Ethernet, and the net is a snare or a trap. So just as the Bible predicted, this trap has come onto the earth, and people literally worship the internet. And as soon as you can, people are going to be inserting this directly into themselves in a way that you cannot remove it. And I think they're going to get trapped in this ether. And the internet, just like all these other waves like television, is a part of the ether. And these waves are now washing over our fallen society and making us think all these things are good for us when they're not. It's no coincidence static sounds just like waves. Now you understand this Bible verse as the sea is come up over Babylon, and the waves they're speaking of are sound waves coming from the ether, coming from darkness, that people are basically worshiping and forcing us into chaos and possibly a third world war. I think this passage describes our time perfectly. There shall be signs in the sun and in the moon and in the stars, and upon the earth the distress of nations, with perplexity, the sea and the waves roaring. The sea and the waves roaring here, when you actually look up the root of the words, waves equals sound and roaring equals echoous. And as you can see, I've picked some people here that are basically echoous sound, roaring sound, saying lots of things but not actually helping, just adding to the distress of the nations. People like Stratfor Alex Jones, or crazy Donald Trump, or Hillary Benghazi Clinton, or Bilderberg Barack Obama are basically doing exactly what it's saying here. They're adding to the stress of the nations with their echoous waves of sound that's basically driven from the prince of the power of the air. So while these politicians walk according to the course of this world, according to the prince of the power of the air, we that are Christians have been offered an escape from the material universe, this ether that has trapped them here. They're trapped like things in a womb that cannot escape, and they show you this through their symbolism all the time as they're constantly trying to break out of this ether material universe, but they can't. The only way out, as we know, is through Jesus Christ, and He offered us that way out when He came here and died for our sins. And anyone who doesn't accept that will get stuck here in the ether. And then you'll have someone like, Illuminati insider Thomas and Edison trying to reach you. Now, the Illuminati know the ether is a trap, but they're still trying to find a way to help break out of it because they serve those that are trapped in it still. And they've shown us this through various horror films and things of that nature. You can see how the ghosts and the demons are trapped in this sort of ethereal field, this electronic universe that they can't escape from. And they're trapped inside of, TV sets and electronic devices and things of that nature because that's what they can manipulate because they're trapped in the ether. And you're going to go through a couple of trailers that show you this exactly. White Noise and the recent classic Poltergeist, which was absolutely showing this right out in the open.
We didn't know where else to go. You did the right thing coming here. Maddie was the first one to notice things.
Mom, how will you get here? Who are you talking to?
When was the last time you had contact with her? Before she was taken?
It's a fixer-upper.
All the houses are like this in our price range.
Do you want to see Jake? No way. You try. We like this house!
We have to call someone.
First things first. Your daughter is here, and she's alive. This development was built on a cemetery. This isn't just a few pissed-off spirits we're dealing with. It's a poltergeist.
What you are about to hear is real. It has not been edited or enhanced. It is the voice of Ruth Baxter. This voice was recorded in August 2003. Ruth Baxter died in 1987. Electronic voice phenomenon, EVP, is the process by which the dead, through sound and image, communicate with the living through the static and white noise of modern electronic devices. What we've all hoped to be true is in fact possible. Our loved ones can reach us.
Mr. Rivers, do you want to hear your wife?
But if they can come through, who else can come through?
It is one thing to contact the dead. It is another thing to meddle, and you are meddling. Oh my God.
The subject of some movies is so disturbing that those who experience them will never be the same again.
No!
White noise.
So I am a paranormal investigator, and one of the places I used to investigate is the USS Salem, where I was a lead investigator. And you can see that on the screen now. And on that ship, a device we often use is called the K2 meter, or I'd use a Mel meter. But both measure the electromagnetic field, which is the ether, and we can see paranormal entities interact with us through that manipulation of that field. So check it out.
Okay, that's weird. I've never seen that happen before. The orange light's going up, but the red one stays on. Okay, now can you move away from that? Thank you. Now could you go near it again? Thank you! Yay! All right. Hey, this is okay. Now move away from it again. Move away from it. Pull your hand away. There you go. Now move near it again for me, for confirmation. Can you do this for me? Thank you! Hey!
As the media pushes stuff like this, which is the ethereal device, or the stuff I just showed you before, which is ghost hunting, which I used to do, and other things of that nature, what they don't want you to know is that it's the ultimate trap. And even though they know this, they're not going to tell you that openly, but they are going to show you that right in your face, which is exactly what they did. And in this video game here, you're looking at the XCOM video game. They've put in a thing called Einstein Did It or something like that. And here he's built an ethereal device to reach those creatures you just saw interacting to us from the aether. And that's what those videos I just showed you showed. All of the ghosts in those videos were manipulating electronic devices, and that's why what you're looking at the screen is an electronic device, because they know that's where these ghosts reside, is in the ether, which is in the electronic universe. So now we have a much better understanding of this extremely famous passage about the mark of the beast, where we won't be able to buy or sell without receiving the mark in our right hand. And as we understand, the mark of the beast is actually the internet. If we don't take the internet in the future as a direct neural interface into our system, which will eventually trap our soul here in the electronic universe, then we cannot buy or sell. And we can already see them pushing this on society just today. I mean, every day we see more moves towards an electronic only currency, or them pushing the idea that cash is bad, that it's costing us too much money to print things, that we need to move towards a digital-only currency, even though they're making hand and fist over the Federal Reserve System as it is. This is exactly why they want us to go towards that cashless society, because they want us to have to use the internet in order to buy or sell. Fortunately, those who believe in Christ have already won. And as we can see this passage here, God himself, the Lord himself, will descend from heaven with a shout, once again referencing how this universe is built from frequency and sound, and has nothing to do with gravity. And that's exactly what this passage is referencing. And it's also letting us know that we have won in the end. So do not fear, we'll be back. Even if we die, we will be back to retake this place from these crazy, crazy people. So as we wrap up this documentary, the world will combine with the technology from the ether, but that energy field that surrounds us will not only make them more than human, making themselves sort of godlike, but will also trap them here, making them not able to die. Those of us who are Christians will find the only escape from this ether trap, this electronic universe. For we are already eternal, so there is no reason to become a transhumanist being because we are already eternal. And that is the oldest lie in the book, that you will become gods and live forever if you just become smart enough. And that's exactly what they're doing here. But don't fall for the trap. We already know the way out of here. We're already eternal, so there's nothing to gain by becoming an eternal robot. And hopefully you can understand that from watching this documentary. Now we're going to wrap things up with a couple Bible verses that just remind us how we've already beaten the system. But the Illuminati can never have our souls, because we know for everyone born of God overcomes the world. This is the victory that has overcome the world, even our faith. Who is it that overcomes the world? Only the one who believes Jesus is the Son of God. 1 John 5:4-5. And here's a passage that I think perfectly describes what we're going through right now. Blessed be the God and the Father of our Lord Jesus Christ. According to his great mercy, he has caused us to be born again to a living hope, that through the resurrection of Jesus Christ from the dead to an inheritance that is imperishable, undefiled and unfading, kept in heaven for you, who by God's power are being guarded through faith for salvation, ready to be revealed in the last time. In this you rejoice, though now for a little while, if necessary, you have been grieved by various trials. 1 Peter 1:3-6. If you haven't seen it yet, my book The Lost Truth basically relates entirely to this documentary, but it also goes into far more depth into a lot of these topics. I wrote over 2 years ago, and a lot of the things that I wrote about have actually started to come true, which is unfortunate, but it's also interesting that I was able to foresee a lot of these things just by reading what the elite put out in their own books. So please feel free to check it out. I give free copies away online. It's also available on Amazon. Hit me up at Imperator Truth on Twitter, and I will hook you up with how to get a copy. If you want a hard copy, you have to buy it because I can't give those away for free. But please check it out and let me know what you think. Thank you so much for watching this entire documentary, Trapped in the Ether. If you liked it, please let me know. Please comment, subscribe, share. If you have some alternative theory I should hear, let me know. My Twitter is @ImperatorTruth. I always love a classic argument, which is two sides presenting evidence. And I hope to hear from all of you. And thank you again for watching, and I'll be back with more in the near future, so subscribe.